Hello, budding sociologist. Welcome to the Sociology Scoop. Today we will explore a relevant topic, social status. This is a very significant concept in sociology as it is a part of UG and PG syllabus in universities and colleges. Before we proceed, the synopsis for today's lecture would be as follows. We will discuss the meaning, features, concepts related to status, ascribed and achieved status. All of you are aware about social status, but you have different interpretations of this concept social status. How important this concept of social status is can be comprehended by some inquisitive questions like how a society would look like without statuses. Why do some individuals have more respect or influence than others? Does status have an impact on our personality, on our perspectives, or on the sense of self? Now, these questions really spark an element of curiosity about social status. Therefore, friends, let's dive in to explore this fascinating concept of social status. First of all, I would like to acquaint you with some sociologists associated with the concept of social status. We have Max Weber, a German sociologist, who said status is a positive or negative social estimation of honor. It is a combination of power, prestige, and status. Another sociologist, Pierre Bourdieu, a French sociologist, he said social status is a combination of economic and social capital. Ralph Linton, American sociologist, discussing the meaning of the word status, let us first take the meaning in simpler terms, in common language. It can be termed as identity or a position. In fact, these two terms are used interchangeably. But when it comes to the sociological meaning, it can be said that all individuals in the society enter into a social situation with an identity. When you are meeting people or you are entering into a social situation based on interaction and interrelationships, you are present there with an identity of your own. This social identity of the individual in the society is social status. It can be interpreted as a place or a position held by an individual in the society. How important or less important this position or status is largely depends on the fact that how the role attached to a particular status is perceived by the society. Which means that if you are performing any role, how is it perceived and interpreted by the social customs and practices? In fact, it is very much related to the concept of role. There is a very strong relationship between status and role. Every status has a role attached to it. That is why role is considered to be the functional or the dynamic part of status. It can be said that status and role are two facets of the same coin. I'll give you some examples for social status. Let's have a look at some illustrations which will make the meaning more understanding. Suppose there is a status of a doctor. Immediately the role attached to this particular status is to treat patients. We have the status of a student and the role is to study. We have the status of a professor. and the role eventually is to teach and guide students. If you have the status of bureaucrat, you have to take part or perform in the administration. Now, coming to the origin of this word social status, when it started, how it started, who used it first. This concept was introduced by the German sociologist Max Weber. He used these words when he was discussing about social stratification. And he opined that social stratification is based on status, class, and power. Later on, this concept was further discussed by famous anthropologist Ralph Linton, where he also gave his opinion on the various types of statuses, which we will be discussing later on in this lecture. Ralph Linton said that a status means a status of rights and obligations. It is in fact a position in the social system, which means he's trying to say that status has associated rights and obligation, which eventually makes a man or prepares a man to perform his role. We have another sociologist, Kingsley Davis. Now, Kingsley Davis is also a famous sociologist, American sociologist. He has authored the book Human Society in 1949, in which he discussed about the concept of status and role. He said that status is a position in the general institutional system recognized by the society. To make it more understanding and comprehensible, he gave 4 important concepts related to the word status. They are number 1, status, number 2, office, number 3, station, and number 4, stratum or stratum. The first one, that is status. It is a position held by an individual in this society. It is quite simple. This concept is simple, that anyone having a position in this social context in the society is called status. The second term is office. It designates a position in a deliberately or consciously created organization governed by specific rules, for example, principal or professor in a university, or a district magistrate in his formal office. Then station. Station means, or it includes, cluster of statuses and offices held by a single person. For example, one person could be a father, brother, and his official status could be a district magistrate. The fourth one is stratum. Many or multiple or mass of people occupying the same station, having similar interests, attitudes, or facing similar kind of problems. For example, doctors, they have the same educational qualification, MBBS or an MD, or some more enhanced qualification. They will have similar, more or less similar socio-cultural ways of life, and they are generally considered to be of one social class. Kingsley Davis further said that the status is a position in a social system, as I discussed earlier, but it has to be recognized by the society, and it is rooted in the customs and the folkways of our culture. It means that any status which is given a lot of importance in one community may not be considered with same approach in other communities. Suppose we are having a very good status in this society, it is not mandatory that this kind of status will get the same amount of respect in some other culture or some other community. So status is very important, becomes very important from the social perspective. We have discussed a lot of things about social status. Coming to the features of social status, it could be said that it is a position held by an individual in the society. Quite simple. It refers to a rank of a person as evaluated by the society. Now, evaluation, perception, recognition of the society is mandatory when you talk about social status. An individual can have multiple statuses at one point in time. Every status has a role attached to it. Status is determined by cultural setting of a particular society. Status and role are interconnected and inseparable. Status is related to rank, prestige, and esteem. I want to clarify these terms. Rank is, in the form of hierarchy, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on and so forth. The word prestige is social, and the word esteem is personal. That's why when we say prestige, we often say social prestige. And when we use the word esteem, we say self-esteem. Prestige is accorded to the status which is given by the society. Now, district magistrate as a status is not a personal status. It's a social status. Once you become a district magistrate, how you perform your role as district magistrate with honesty, integrity, commitment, determination will increase your self-esteem. You could have the best of social status with the worst of self-esteem. The ideal condition would be the best of social prestige with the best of self-esteem. That is why it is said that self-esteem is personal in nature. Then status has a pattern of expected role attached to it. Whatever social status is accorded to you, you have to behave, you have to perform the roles attached to that particular social status in accordance to the expectations of the society of that particular social status. Now, these are some of the features. Moving further, there are some terms, very important terms and very interesting terms related to social status. The first one is status inconsistency. This term was introduced by sociologist Gerhard Lansky in the 1950s. It means a person having varied statuses may experience inconsistency in these statuses. For example, I'll give you an example with this. A highly educated person working in a low paid job or a teacher may get a lot of respect and prestige in society, which increases his status, but he earns less money, which at the same time decreases the status. So we can say the status inconsistency is a condition of disparity between several statuses. Coming to the next term, you see. The next term is status sequence. Now it is a status which is attained in succession or in stages. Preceding stage leads to the succeeding stage, as in a series. For example, if you are a medical student, very soon you will become a trainee. Proceeding further, you will become an assistant doctor or then a doctor, or you could establish yourself as an entrepreneur, which means that doctor can open his own chain of hospitals. He becomes an entrepreneur. He can give jobs to other people in his nursing home. Coming to the next term, status set. Robert Merton coined the word status set in 1957. It means collection of social statuses that an individual holds at one point in time. A person could be a mother, daughter, wife, or a banker at the same time. It's like juggling multiple social positions at one time. This is called a status set. Then you have master status. It was American sociologist Everett Hughes who in the 1940s gave this term master status. Now, as we know that we hold many different statuses, but some may be higher or some may be lower positions. Everett Hughes was of the opinion that certain status of an individual assumes greater importance and the person is principally identified in the society by a key status, which is called the master status. Now, this status assumes dominant recognition in the society. You might be having multiple statuses, but you are known in the society by one particular social status. For example, Gandhiji. He had multiple statuses. He was a lawyer, he was a father, a husband, or he belonged to a certain community. But he is remembered as Mahatma or as a freedom fighter who gave different unique ways to fight the Britishers, like the Swadeshi, Satyagraha, non-violence, non-cooperation, etc. Now we come to very important concepts related to status, and these are ascribed and achieved status. Both these statuses were given by Ralph Linton, who was an American anthropologist, in his most popular and remembered book, The Study of Man in 1936. Now, to add to your information, one of his other important work was The Tree of Culture, which he wrote in 1955, in which he has primarily discussed about the evolution of culture through different periods. This was just to enhance your knowledge about famous American anthropologist Ralph Linton. He wrote two books, very important books, The Study of Man 1936 and The Tree of Culture, which he wrote in 1955. We were discussing about the achieved and the ascribed status. First, we will take the ascribed status. It is a status which we inherit from our parents or ancestors. It is mainly a feature of traditional societies. What do we inherit from our parents and ancestors? We inherit our caste, race, kinship, gender, etc. We can say that ascribed status is simply our effortless position in the society. We have done nothing to have this kind of status. It has been passed from our ancestors or parents to us. It could be very simply said that ascribed status is a status ascribed upon an individual when the world knows the least about the potential of the child. Without knowing the potential or caliber of the child, certain statuses are accorded on us. Now we'll discuss the achieved status. Now this status is very much opposite to the ascribed status. It is a status which is not ascribed or inherited by our parents or ancestors. It is basically determined by an individual or by his efforts, hard work, accomplishments in an open competition, by our own skills and choices, like becoming an IAS officer, professor, moving into the Indian Administrative Services, or going in the Indian Police Service. This kind of status is acquired in your lifetime by your own hard work. On the basis of what? On the basis of education, occupation, property, specialization, or for that matter, your own choices. You have made certain choices in your own lifetime to achieve or acquire something in life. Nothing is being accorded to you as in the ascribed status. When I say that you have to make your own choices not only for occupation, but for marital partners, place of residence, schools, colleges, that means you will shape your life in your own way through achieved statuses. I'll give you an example for this, where you acquire many things in your life. For example, APJ Abdul Kalam, who was a son of a boat owner, went on to become the 11th president of India. Abdul Kalam said, if you want to shine like a sun, first burn like a sun. Another example I will give you is of Oprah Winfrey, the famous American host on TV, who was born to a housemaid and a father who was a barber. She became popular with her American talk show, The Oprah Winfrey Show. Her property today is estimated at around 300 crores US dollars. So, friends, today we deliberated upon several aspects of status and its relevance in society, as to why and how it is important for the social stratification and the society. We elaborately discussed about what is achieved status and what is ascribed status, what is the difference between the two. We discussed about various concepts related to the social status, because it is very important for all of us to ponder on achieved status, as it is a significant part of the modern societies. With this, I would like to end my lecture here. I will be back with a new and exciting and also relevant issue or topic pertaining to society. That is all I have in this section of the sociology scoop. Till I see you next, it's a big thank you from my side.